In this video, we will introduce Content Provider's Database Helper. Let's create our Database Helper. Now that we looked at our Content Provider setup, now let's take a look at an inner class that I've created called Database Helper, which extends the SQLite Open Helper. We use this helper class to manage database creation and version management. We create a subclass implementing the onCreate method, the onUpgrade method, and optionally the onOpen method. And this class takes care of opening the database if it exists, creating it if it does not, and upgrading it as necessary. Transactions are used to make sure the database is always in a sensible state. This class makes it easy for the content provider implementation to defer opening and upgrading the database until first use, to avoid blocking application startup with long-running database upgrades. If we take a look, here I have my constructor, which takes the context and then calls the superconstructor to pass the context and also pass along the database name and the database version. I also have the onCreate method. This is called when the database is created for the first time. This is where the creation of tables and the initial population of the tables should happen. Within this method, using my reference to my database, I call the method execSQL. And I'm using the createDBTable statement, which we set up in the previous lesson. The execSQL method from our SQLite database class executes a single SQL statement that is not a select or any other SQL statement that returns data. It has no means to return any data, such as the number of affected rows. Now here we've overridden our onUpgrade method. The onUpgrade method is called when the database needs to be upgraded. The implementation should use this method to drop tables, add tables, or do anything else it needs to upgrade to the new schema version. What we do here is that we execute a drop table statement if one exists, so that every time we create our employees table brand new. I'm also calling the onCreate and passing a reference to the database. The onCreate method is called when the database is created for the first time. This is where the creation of tables and the initial population of the table should happen. The parameter is the database reference itself. This concludes our discussion of Content Provider's Database Helper.